Hello, everybody, and welcome back once more to Anime Yay or Nay. I am TheOutbackAl.
I'm Yunin Young.
I'm Cheapy Noob.
I'm Envy Jitters.
I'm Sharon Cosplay.
And I'm Cozy.
And we're back with the last week of the semi-finals. Guys, this is the last thing right before the last episode of the last... You know what, I'm saying it too much. Yeah, we got two more semi-finalists. Gonna see who's gonna face Princess Tutu in the finals. We got Cozy. You been dreading this week?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, we don't have to talk about it. I mean, we do have to talk about it, but we don't have to talk about that part of it.
I guess the episode's over.
Bye-bye, everybody. Like, subscribe, do all that sort of stuff. Hey, Cece, how's the scarf going?
It's going great. I have started live streaming my progress on it.
Oh, nice.
An hour almost every night. Both on Twitch and TikTok. So
tell them what your Twitch and TikTok is. I'll put a little graphic up.
TikTok is also Sharon Cosplay. Twitch is Gamer Girl. If you're entering for the scarf, you should be following me on Instagram, and there is a link there.
Yes, I will put a link there. You will see the link right there. And while you're there, go to the Google Doc thing, the Google forum, to get entered to win the possibility of this scarf that represents all the shows and all the episodes that we watch from this tournament. Yay! So what are we watching this week? Well, we got the Collect 'em All 2 Electric Boogaloo champion Cardcaptor Sakura versus the basically Power Rangers champion Magic Knight RayEarth. That's right, it's Clamp v Clamp this week. And are we all excited?
No.
I was kind of excited. I've genuinely enjoyed both of these shows.
At least they're both good.
Quite a bit, yeah.
Okay, but that means we gotta get rid of one of them.
Right. That's the hard part of it.
Or do we get to watch the rest of one of them earlier? I don't know. There's different ways to look at things. Anyway, why don't we just get into it? So, Cardcaptor Sakura, what happened? Things happened. Stuff happened. We got more cards. We got more magic. We got more things happening. And now we got more characters. What the hecky with that thing? First episode had to do with a painting in a museum that has been vandalized by a card that is taking up its residence inside of it, and it controls people through silence, or it doesn't like people talking, so it casts silence, or it can teleport you away if it doesn't like you very much.
Yep.
And that it was dealing with that and the child of the artist who had died. Well, not that the artist died, not the child had died. The child's still around, and they're trying to knife up the painting to get rid of that the silence person, so that they can see the smile of the world. They're kind of creepy 90s anime smile. Was anyone else feeling like it was a little bit of a creepy smile?
No, I thought it was cute.
It kind of gave me Serial Experiments Lane a little bit. Anyone else?
Not really.
Okay.
I guess for me it was just like, oh, that's fine.
This is fine. Burn it.
No!
This is fine. Yeah. But we also got, at the very end of that, we got to see the preview of our new character, our new card captor joining the mix, who is introduced in the next episode as Lee. Foreign, or I don't know about foreign, but like definitely the exchange student, the mysterious exchange student who comes in the middle of the semester, which is so weird. But also, they are a card captor with magic and a sword and their own magical girl outfit that Cardcaptor Sakura does not have yet. And they want them cards. Why? Because he's the great-great-great-great-grandson of Clow or something along those lines, according to Kiro. But how much can we trust Kiro? We can probably trust Kiro, but I don't know for sure. Anywho, they literally battle a Thundercat, which is kind of awesome. And he's also afraid or attracted to Big Brother's boyfriend?
Yes.
Unclear at this point.
It?
I'm interested to find out. And then our third episode... Okay, what did they find in the third episode? Why am I blanking right now?
Sword card.
Sword card, right. A card that possesses people and causes you to try to assault your friends. Which, yeah, a lot of stuff happened there. We got a little bit of everything that I feel like the show's showed us so far. So let's talk about how we thought that all went. I think, Chibi, you're first. What do you think of the plot?
So, plot-wise, episode 7, bit of a, card of the week kind of thing. It was fine. I thought the episode was good. I didn't mind that one. It was kind of like a little bit of a breather from, like, plot-heavy stuff. The other two, I would say, at least The next one is definitely plot relevant because we get introduced to Lee, who is essentially Sakura's rival for the Cloud cards. Particularly, he's a bit of an ass and causes Sakura to have some inner strife, which is like kind of like an overarching thing for like episode 8 and then episode 9. And I don't know, it adds something interesting to the mix. And then episode 9. So episode 9 is a little clunky, and there's a reason for that, but I want to bring it up in production.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna leave it for that part. But yeah, I thought the plots of these episodes were fine. I give it a light yay.
Kind of what Chibi said. Episode 7 was, the monster card of the week, and I did ultimately like, the storyline of the little girl. Spoiler: it's a little girl. They thought it was a little boy the entire episode until the very end. But I did like the heartwarming story of, her trying to save her dad's painting, and it ended up being a painting that he painted of her. So I thought, get you right in the feels. Episode 8 and 9, you deal with the new rival, and yeah, he is an asshole. There's no way about it. I mean, granted, I understand he thinks he's probably the chosen one or a divine warrior, and then this random girl becomes a Cardcaptor Sakura, but at the same time, he treats the mascot like shit too. So he doesn't respect his elders. Yeah, I thought the plots themselves were fine. Nothing spectacular, but nothing I thought was bad. So yeah, I give it up like 8 too.
Yeah, I really liked the artist one and found the sword one a little uninteresting and the middle one right in the middle. It was kind of like progressively losing interest as we were watching, but that might have been due to other factors. But yeah, it's mostly Monster of the Week, which with a little bit of overarching plot, and I think that formula works well for a magical girl show.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. I did really enjoy the plot of the museum episode. I really liked that Silence was like, shut the fuck up or get away from me. Like, mood girl, mood.
Yeah.
How many of us wish we had that power?
Yes.
Oh, public transit would be so nice.
Yes.
I do like that while we were getting Monster of the Week, we were getting kind of like bigger stuff going on in the story, in the world. I feel like episodes 8 and 9, I feel like those really helped like build out the kind of world that Sakura's living in, which up until this point, like, hasn't been lacking anything, but it's nice to get some more like detail into it. I honestly did not know. His name is Lee Shouron. Shouron is his first name. He is from China. Or it might have been Hong Kong. I don't remember. But one of those two.
Hong Kong is technically
Hong
in
Kong.
China.
It specifically here says transfer student from Hong Kong. So
It was not part of China.
Not at the
When
time,
this
but it's
came
technically a territory that was like supposed to be. The whole political situation of Hong Kong over the last couple decades is fascinating. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think we have time to go into it here. I do think it was returned to China in recent years, so I guess in the 90s, no. But so it would be still England.
I think they still don't consider themselves part of China, though, right?
No,
I don't think they do, but it's
No.
But regardless, anyway.
I did not think he came in this early. I don't know why. I felt like he came in like much later, like in the 20s at least. Like,
that
when-
might be... No, go on.
I felt like he came in when Sakura had like a good deal of cards under her belt. I do like how they ended up playing off of each other, because like this is kind of like a character thing, but like I feel like we're like, yeah, Sakura, you're doing so good, and he kind of came in and we're like, whoa, wait, Sakura, you're kind of doing so bad. The sword card was a dick. It had no reason to possess that girl the way it did. I also just... Sakura fighting with like Kero and Shouron, I don't understand that part of the plot, because like she did not have to hurt her to capture the card, and I don't understand why she thought she did. That and okay, so in the museum episode with the painting, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the last painting the artist ever made.
Yes.
It's a deeply personal piece where he obviously was capturing his daughter in a moment of harmony with his family. both his daughter and his wife are like, that is my favorite piece he's ever made, and it means a lot to me. Why the fuck is it in the museum?
Belongs in a museum.
Like, I definitely feel like that's something you should personally keep. Like, yeah, maybe make like a copy or a print for a museum, but the original should not be there.
Can I throw out there that a lot of museums do have pieces of art that are owned in private collections and that they rent from the owners? So it might be possible that mom, was not doing as well financially and she rented out the piece to the museum to make ends meet.
Maybe.
Dark.
I could believe that.
I mean, it's not the craziest. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's very weird for such a deeply personal piece to be in the museum.
Perhaps.
Art is meant to make you feel.
Maybe it was
But-
already in the museum and he passed.
No, maybe.
Maybe.
I like going to the museum to connect with my dad.
Overall, we did not advance much this week, but we're still, going at a nice pace. It feels like we're getting somewhere, even though, we're taking baby steps. So I'm hey.
I don't know why no one's brought up the biggest plot hole in all of this, is this thing has been in the museum, presumably for a little while. How come no one noticed it changed?
Yeah.
That's true.
That is a good point. That is a good point.
How did the museum curator, I understand maybe the security guards aren't taking a look at every single painting and they don't know, but I feel like someone should have noticed. But
Maybe a
yeah.
magic blind spot? I don't know. That's the only explanation I can come up with.
maybe the silence card is
wasn't in the
also
museum for
rewriting
that
reality
long.
on some level so that we don't remember that that there's not supposed to be a smiling person in the smile photo or portrait.
That's true.
I mean, also, I feel like, regardless that it was museum's policy for people to be quiet, we saw quite a lot of people talking in said museum.
I figured it's
Yeah.
library rules. You're allowed to talk, just keep it at below a certain level.
But she didn't think so. So were a bunch of people just thinking they were tripping balls in the museum when they ended up outside with no explanation?
I may have a solution to that. Let us throw out there that it was the middle of the night, and she has a particular circadian rhythm. They were disturbing her sleep, which is why she wants it quieter at night even. But that's me just trying to put logic where maybe we don't entirely need it. In any case, I do find these episodes very fun. I think this has been one of those shows that's been the most consistent as far as a lot of their categories go between week to week and everything. I think it's stayed pretty much the same here. Very solid. Yeah, one or two clunky bits here and there, but still very entertaining. And I think enough was developing that I was like, ooh, you're keeping me interested, and I do want to keep seeing what's going to happen next. So I think I'm a light yay, maybe a full yay. I'm going to go light for now. Just tease a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. I think everyone pretty much covered it, so I'll just echo those thoughts. I'm a light yay too. I think these episodes are solid. I think the cards continue to be fun and interesting. I like her little outfits every time. Plot is going well. I think it stayed pretty consistent, like you guys have said. I don't think it's gotten significantly better or significantly worse. It's just kind of stayed the same. But the same is pretty good, so light yay.
The same is good when it's not a meh or a nay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. So, why don't we talk characters? Envy, what are your thoughts on them?
Well, I mean, Sakura, or Sakura as they keep calling her, she's fine. She's a good character. Karo is, the fun-loving sidekick, and he's pretty fun. What's her best friend's name?
Madison?
Madison.
Okay, Madison. Yeah, she's
Tomoyo.
awesome. Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, she's awesome as always. So the main three are still good. The little girl in the one episode, she's a one-off character. The guy, he's annoying as shit, but I feel like it's one of those situations where you're supposed to hate him and you're supposed to not like him, and then as the show goes on, you hear more about his backstory, and they begrudgingly become friends. So I get that. That's a trope that works for a lot of shows. It's just you got to sit through the annoying stuff first. And then otherwise the other main characters are the cards themselves, and the silent card was a cheeky little person, let's just say that. It's like playing the most extreme game of red light, green light. It's like you would make the slightest noise and you're sent back outside the shadow realm to the outside of the museum.
No. We know what the most extreme version of red light, green light is. It's called Squid Game.
That's true.
Well, I wasn't trying to make a Squid. I was trying to avoid making a Squid Game comparison.
No, throw it in.
And then the Thunder card, like you said, was literally a Thundercat. I thought that was pretty funny.
Ho!
And then the sword card. Yeah, I agree with Cozy. Like, why did the sword card just magically try to? Why like the sword card was like, yeah, I'm gonna control one of your good friends from class. I'm gonna try to kill you while mindlessly controlling her, where she has no control over her body. It's like, that's really dark when you think about it. So yeah, characters are fine. It's a light yay, mainly because the boy's an asshole right now.
As soon as he appeared on screen, Cozy was like, "Oh, Cece, you are going to love it." Sure enough, the next episode, I'm like, "Oh, he's so angry."
He's just an angry little guy.
I love a grumpy little boy. Oh,
I just want to clarify that this has been my gateway to getting Cece into other clamp works. I'm like, here's the angry little guy in this one. Look at him. Don't you like him?
Hey, you watched Ranma yet?
Is Gate
Oh,
7
boy.
is clamp
Yeah,
club, yeah.
Ranma.
That's
Well,
not clam.
I'm thinking about an angry little guy. I'm thinking of the little pig.
Oh, I love the pig.
He's just an angry little
He's
guy.
amazing. Anyway.
Bakugo's my best boy.
Ew.
Bakugo is not little.
He was at one point. Big Brother. I love carrying Big Brother moments. He was like, "You are absolutely not going to beat up my sister. I am not afraid to throw hands with an 8-year-old." And I really love seeing that side of him.
I got 10 years and 100 pounds on you. You want to do this?
Yeah, basically.
More or less.
It was very sweet. I love seeing
That's what
that.
Big Brothers are for.
Yeah.
You would hope.
Okay, I have a lot to say about characters this week. First, I hard agree. I love healthy sibling dynamics. They fight. They don't always get along, but they are always going to be, only I can make fun of you. If someone else does it, I'm going to kick the crap out of them. I do really appreciate that Toya was so willing to throw down with a 10-year-old that his psycho boyfriend had to be the one to step in like, no, let's not do that. Like, that really speaks to how much he was probably going to go through with it. I don't remember what she was doing, but the very beginning of episode 7, Sakura had like another hobby going on, and I'm like, I just love how she has so many hobbies.
I
So
think
many
she was
like little
drawing,
things she does.
sketching. I
Oh,
think she was
yes,
drawing
that one,
Hero.
yes.
Yeah. And then he defaced her picture.
And then Madison showed her up like 100 times.
Yes.
Yes. But like, I just really like that she has a lot of like little hobbies that she likes. It matches the vibe with Toya having like 8 million jobs and never being home. I also really enjoyed that episode where Sakura got caught sneaking out by Yukito, who was sneaking in. And it was just a moment of, so, we didn't see anything, right? Nope, we saw nothing.
It was that Umbrella Academy meme where they're in the cars.
Yeah.
No. Toya was not home yet. Yukito was sneaking in. The boyfriend was going in. Why was he there at that time of night? We're not gonna talk about it. But we know. I fucking adore Tomoyo to the stars and back. Even though she had a very specific lesbian fantasy and it was a cat made in one of these, that was a little weird. Like, girl, calm your jets just a little. You're too young for that just yet. I do also, like, I know you guys are, like, kind of coming at Shaoran and you're like, yeah, he's kind of a dick and he's angry, but I like that it's very obvious that he's much better at card capturing, but he still actually helps Sakura capture the cards, because it's not about whether or not he should be the one doing it, it's about making sure the cards aren't causing havoc. And on top of that, I really liked that it showed that we as viewers have seen a lot of growth in Sakura, but in universe from her perspective, she's realizing that she has not grown maybe as much as she thought she did. And, like, we had a really nice moment of self-doubt with her this week. And then, like, my last little bit is where Shalron was blushing and then he ran away. You can't catch me, gay thoughts.
Yes, we can.
But yeah, like, I'm a full yay on characters this week. I really liked all of the dynamics going on.
Yeah, I feel pretty similarly. Lee is a great addition to this because, yeah, I think it's great to have a rival character a little bit. I think they play off of each other very well, and I do like that. I should have mentioned this in plot, but I do like how we're kind of past the refusal of the call and all that sort of thing, and now we're fully into the game. But now we're actually seeing where Sakura's faults are in this a little bit more. As things start to progress and become more difficult, we're seeing more of a challenge, and we're also seeing people who are doing things better or could do better than she can, which then has to push her to do better herself. And I think that's great. I think as far as a character arc goes, this is going very well, and I love that for Sakura, and I love that for all the characters. Every character in this is great. I don't know that I have anything to complain about. Every single episode, Madison is getting more insanely intense with what she's doing, and I'm like, I'm here for it. I don't know why you know so much about how to pull off a museum heist, but I'm here for it. Yeah.
Capitalism.
Well, okay, yeah. I mean, she could just buy it if she wanted. But no. She's, you know what? You know the kind of villain she is? She's the super rich villain who does crimes, not because she needs to, but because it's fun. That's
exactly what she is. Like, she does not even acknowledge how filthy rich she is, but, like, she could buy the entire city without any struggle.
She's one of those people who like, if you ask them how much money they have, they don't say. They're just like, we're comfortable. It's like, we know what that's code for. But yeah, that's great. The sibling relationship, great, very fun. I definitely felt him in that moment of like, because I have a younger brother who was a few years younger than me, and he did not get big very quickly. So that I felt that. And I also definitely, I was a big brother in a lot of sense.
Which part did you feel? The wanting to beat up someone who's like 10 years younger than you?
Okay.
Or the part of, I'm going to beat you up if you make fun of my sibling?
That part, because my brother's only like 2.5, 3 years younger than me, depending on the time of year.
But depending on how quickly you grew versus how unquickly he grew, you could have been decently bigger than him. Unquickly.
Yes, for a while, I was much bigger than my younger brother and anyone who was picking on him, so yeah. Fortunately, I never had to throw hands with another kid in school that wasn't already in my own grade. But yeah, but I definitely made so much fun of my little brother, and it was a lot of fun. So yeah, across the board, everybody's great. Kiro's fun as well. Even like the little side characters only show up for like an episode or so. Fun times. Good stuff. Full yay. I don't think they've ever not gotten a full yay from me for some of these categories.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like every character in this has a purpose and a personality of their own. Like, I don't feel like anyone is superfluous or just hanging around. I feel like they did a good job of, like, crafting them in a way that it feels like they fill out the world. They really feel like they're part of it, So I really enjoy that aspect. I like the dynamics between them. I liked the addition of the angy little guy. I think he adds some spice, and I enjoy that. I enjoy a little bit of, like, lighthearted conflict, It's like he's a rival, not a villain kind of thing, and I think that's fun. And yeah, I think the cards are pretty enjoyable too. I think even when they're annoying, it's like they make for good plot, so it's like, I think they're pretty enjoyable. I think Sakura continues to be a good character that we can root for. I really have no complaints about these characters. I think they're good all around, so I would give it a yay.
Angy little guy is spicy.
He adds a little spice, Just
he is literally the little cat who is no talk me angy.
Yes.
That's him.
Or the cat where they're like, are you spicy? And he's like, eh.
I pretty much agree with most of the things that have been said, so I'm not really gonna echo what y'all have been saying. I give characters like a yay for this week.
Alrighty. Why don't we move on
Can I
into the...
briefly
Sure.
sidetrack us?
Why not?
Okay, so I think it's really funny that everyone's like, Showdown's an eggy little boy, like a little cat.
Yes.
One of the thing about Clamp is they like to cross over their works or reuse characters.
Mm-hmm.
And one of their bigger series, in like the 2010s-ish, is called Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle.
I feel like I've heard
And
of that.
Showdown and Sakura are the main characters for that, like different iterations of them who are like older, they're like almost adult kind of teenagers. And he is the biggest golden retriever energy, like little squishable face dork that you've ever seen. Like, so bad that, because I obviously grew up thinking of him as Lee. I did not realize that was supposed to be Lee at first when I started it.
Mm-hmm.
And when, like, those dots finally connected, I'm like, who the fuck are you and what happened?
He chilled out.
Whatever the opposite of trauma is. He went to therapy.
He just needed puberty to hit. Anyways, I just think it's funny because he's also compared to, like, an actual puppy in that series. So he goes from being an anky little kitty to, like, an overexcitable puppy.
Well, we're gonna have to put that on the list now.
Yeah.
All right, Cece,
It's very
take us
good.
into world building.
I will stick my miscellaneous thoughts here. I really like when Madison showed up with another video camera, and Sakura was like, "You got another camera?" Madison's like, "Yeah, this one's digital. It's different."
Did you notice that happened to coincide with the clarity of the show being a little bit better?
No.
Yeah.
Did not catch that.
They got a little bit of an upgrade.
That sounds like a production thing.
It is. So for world building, we know a couple things now. We know that there are multiple card captors, which I did spoil that for you guys on accident, not really thinking it came up this quickly. We know that magic exists outside of the Cloud cards. It's not just them providing the magic, like Sharon has his own that he's doing, and they even said Cloud Reed made a new kind of magic. And then we also have now learned that Sakura doesn't have to, like, do a direct capture. In the museum episode, she captured silence by using shadow. She was nowhere close to the actual card itself. So I think that's all really cool stuff that's leading us somewhere, like interesting little tidbits about the world that they can expand upon later. My only gripe is, why do they all just keep jumping over fences? The door is right there. Just walk 2 feet to the left.
It's more fun, and they're getting their exercise.
Like, they all just kept hopping up on them. I'm like, bro. But yeah, I'm like a light yay here. Like, we didn't get much, but what we got is very interesting.
Yeah, I think I'm a yay here. I think, one, something that we can reiterate is that this series continues to use magic in a creative way that doesn't seem like it's pulling it out of its own ass a lot of times. I feel like you can have that a lot of times with certain types of shows that involve magic, where they're like, well, anything can happen kind of thing. Okay, cool, so anything can happen. But like when you actually like put specific powers and abilities and different kind of limitations on the cards and everything, and then what they have, and then how they do things. Like I think I praised the series earlier about how they dealt with water using wind and the freezer and everything else. I feel like every time that a new problem comes up, they're like, all right, let's come up with an interesting way of solving that. Like with the Shadow thing, Shadow got a lot of good stuff this week, between taking down the Thundercat, Ho, and grabbing the card from inside the museum. If she doesn't use that again, that's such a useful ability. I'm like, that was great. Or like the illusion card, we're getting a lot of different things. I was wondering about the jump card, because I'm like, you have the fly card. What do you need the jump card for? But then I'm like, oh, you can jump faster than just floating around. So like there are different sort of scenarios where some of these work a little bit better. That's great for me. And then learning more about like the magical elements out beyond what we've seen already fantastic. There's other types of magic. There's other sorcerers. There's other like types of sorcery. I'm hoping, don't spoil it for me, but I'm hoping we're going to see some of those other things, like the non-cloud-based magic a little bit more, maybe from some antagonistic people, maybe, down the line. Who knows? That could be really cool. I'm honestly, at this point, and this is stupid as hell, but hear me out. Who would win in a fight? Yugi or Sakura with their cards? Playing a shadow game.
Sakura.
Really?
Sakura.
Full-on shadow game versus some of them insane Yu-Gi-Oh ones?
Yes. So, Yami Yugi can. I'm sorry, his name's Atem.
Atem, fine.
He does have the ability to unleash the magic in the cards. Sakura has her own magic.
Okay.
So, Sakura could do magic beyond her cards.
I was gonna throw out as a possibility, they throw out the cards and they get into a fist fight, but then Toya's showing up, and he's gonna beat up Yugi so bad. But yeah, I say full yay for world building.
Yeah, I think the world building was solid. I liked the introduction of the fact that there are other card captors. I think we got some good cards and stuff. I don't know. I don't have too much to add. I would say it's solid. It's like a light yay.
Yeah, I would say the same. I also will not rehash a lot of stuff other than the fact that there are clans, which aside from there being other card captors, it means that there are like whole families where this is like their thing. And the magic that they have and like their robes are also like specific to their families. So like that's a bit of interesting details. Yeah, I would also say that I am a yay for world building.
I really don't have much to add, so light yay.
All right, cool. Let's head on into production. I think a couple people have some things to say about production. Cozy, why don't you start us out?
Okay, this kills me inside, but I have quite a bit of more negative thoughts in production. You know, excluding the fact it's beautifully animated, the soundtrack is beautiful, like, the voice actors are doing a really good job. Excluding all of that, we have the Thundercat, which is actually a lightning cat, not a Thundercat.
Yep. Uh-huh.
And then he's battling it with lightning.
Yep.
Like, why? Why?
That might have been why they changed it to Thundercat, because it would be weird if you shot lightning at lightning.
Well, that's all they did anyway, so it's still weird.
Was it lightning or was it light that he was firing?
Looked like lightning.
It was lightning.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was lightning.
Which doesn't make sense how lightning could hit thunder, because thunder is just sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids don't know
Shaoran, again, he is from Hong Kong. So that moment in the classroom where he's like, what do you mean cleanup duties? He wouldn't have been confused. Hong Kong and China, they have very similar like schooling structures as they do in Japan, where the students are responsible for cleaning up the rooms at the end of the day. He absolutely would not have been bewildered by that.
When did this come out?
98.
Okay. I did look it up a little bit. Hong Kong is technically owned by China, but it's a special administrative region, so it has its own government and cultural stuff. It was owned by England for a very long time, up until 1997. Yes. So it's possible their school system might be more like England than China.
I think even in Europe, they clean up.
I thought he said I have to do all of that, and I think it was more like they were giving him all of the chores, like they were hazing him.
I don't think so.
Because they did say something about like, oh, class president swooping in with his lies to save the day.
So, can I interject here?
Yeah.
So, I actually did watch episode 9 in the original Japanese because I needed to confirm some things with how I remembered this episode playing out in the original versus how we watched it here for reasons that I'm going to explain when it gets to my turn.
Mm-hmm.
But they were telling him he has to sing and dance along with doing all of the chores. So that was the reason why he was confused. And maybe it would make more sense in an American classroom for this to be bewildering to him because, I don't know, it's not really something we do necessarily in America.
So this is a localization thing.
Yes.
Okay.
So, like, that was absolutely one of the things where I'm like, that does not make any sense. Like, there has to be something else going on there. He would not be like, what? We got a lot of repeat animation this week.
Yeah.
We got so much, and that is really kind of sad because, like, she doesn't have many, like, transformation sequences. Very specifically, the one I took note of is when she was summoning the Cloud Key outside with the sword card.
Mm-hmm.
She ran out in her socks, but they used the repeat animation of her, like, in her full uniform with her shoes on. And then the other, like, animation of her attacking with a card, they remembered to leave her shoes off and just have her in her socks. But I'm like, it's one of those little things where I'm like, y'all got lazy. And that's, I want to fight you about it. Also, a gratuitous amount of sorry. sorry.
What are you talking about?
Just like, it's so painfully Canadian. So I think, like, normally I am more like a yay, but just being a little more critical of it, I'm a meh this week on production.
See, all I'm thinking about is when Sakura came out the window and then Julian's standing there like, Sakura, how are you now? Oh, good, and you? Oh, not so bad. For all the Letterkenny fans out there.
Wow.
High key, I would say he's the one who kind of slips up the most.
Oh, he does. He absolutely does. I heard it from him more than anybody else, which is saying something because he's in so little of these episodes. But yeah, I think overall I'm kind of a light yay for production. I think the show still looks good. I do think that when they are doing new animation and like some of the battle stuff and that, it looks fantastic. I think they do a really good job. Yeah, some repeats here and there. It happens. Yeah, the dub's not perfect, but it's a lot better than what we had before, and I do overall like the feel of it. I do like that every character still feels very good with like what their character is, and just, I don't know, it just kind of works for me. So, although it wasn't like a super impressive showing this week, I think it was still pretty solid and pretty consistent, so I'll give it a light yay.
I think I'm gonna go kind of meh on the production. I think there were problems. I think the style is still really cute. I really like the aesthetic of the character designs. I love the outfits. But yeah, there were some issues that Cozy kind of already went into. So I'd say it's like a high meh for me.
So, episodes 7 and 8, again, animation's good and it even looked better in a couple of the episodes. Music's still that dubbed over anime sort of songs that they put in, which is fine. Still loving the opening. So, episode 9, plot-wise, as I said when I was talking about plot, I would bring this up here. They actually had to sort of rewrite the plot for episode 9.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have to change aspects of the one side character that we got in this episode for reasons. So she's actually like pretty smart and she does pretty well in school. She's a good student. They, for reasons, had to turn her into a bad student and make her really bad at school, which is very different from the plot of the original episode 9 in Japanese. Because this episode that we watched, they're helping her study for their spelling test. And in the original, it was actually that Rita, or Rika, as she is in Japan, and Madison, they were basically taking like Sakura out shopping because, you know, they were trying to help her feel better. Because Lee was getting under her skin and making her, you know, have a lot of self-doubt. So They changed up the episode, and I can kind of understand why for certain reasons, but how it ended up coming out seemed pretty clunky to me, so had they worked on that a little bit more, I feel like I would have been a bit more okay with it, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like, oh well.
Was the reason they had to change it because it wouldn't make sense for her to be afraid of the teacher if she was a good student?
Yeah, because she's like, she likes him. So,
Yeah.
which, I mean, it's different than how it is in the manga, because in the manga, she and the teacher are actually engaged to be married when she's older.
Ew.
Yeah.
Emotional
I'm just
damage.
I'm like,
Okay, good
I'm
change.
okay with
Good
this
change, everybody.
I am okay with this change. I am not upset. This is actually a good thing. I just wish it had been done a bit better.
She's like 10.
Yes, I know. And I was trying to avoid saying it, but I'm like, I don't know what's gonna set people off and make people mad.
I was
So
like,
I'm just like,
I was,
I'm gonna tiptoe around it until it's actually said.
yeah, I was listening to you tiptoe around that. I was just like, okay, it cannot be, can it? Like,
Yes, it is.
Ooh.
It actually is.
Japan is really, really bad about doing like teacher-student relationships and not labeling it as grooming.
Yeah, the thing about this is it's definitely romanticized. At least that's the tone I get for it in the manga, unfortunately. Because they put it with like the flowers and like all the little effects and things when he actually gives her the engagement ring, and I'm just
How
like,
old is older?
I mean, he's gotta be in his 20s.
He's at least a minimum.
So probably
Decade
when
and
she
a
turns 18.
I was like, you know, if it was like later, she came back and like she met him again, still icky, but
No, apparently they
as,
frequently spend time alone together on dates. Apparently.
Wait, so does the anime completely get rid of that storyline?
So in the Japanese anime adaptation, they're not engaged, but there is still some affection that they show for each other. Like it implies like she is fond of him. Like she does do the blushing when she looks at him, which is something that they changed for this episode. So they had to work around a lot of things, specifically because they were trying to remove that, and they have to remove it from a lot of subsequent episodes when she shows up.
Okay.
See, on the one hand, I'm like, this is okay if it if the girl just like has a crush on him, but it's not any kind of reciprocal. Like, it's because like we have the same thing going on with Julia. Not so much in this dub, it doesn't feel like, but definitely we know Sakura has a crush on this older guy, but it's fine because we know nothing's gonna happen.
Or like, you know, in Ranma, how the girl likes that like doctor dude.
Yeah,
like, he
it's
likes
like,
the older sister.
All right,
you know?
you're young.
But
this is gonna happen, but it's like
it's not reciprocal.
Yeah.
it's not on the minor for having feelings.
Yeah.
It is always 100% on the adult because they are the adult and know that those feelings should not be encouraged or reciprocated in any way.
So, just to reiterate, in the anime adaptation, it is still shown that they do have affection for one another, just not to the level that is shown in the manga.
Okay.
And English, good job, Nelvana. I can't complain about this change, to be honest. Anyway, I'm sorry. This was long.
No, this I actually think this was important.
I needed to establish that because I'm like, this episode feels really off, and I know that there was a weird thing with her and the teacher in this. I need to make sure that I'm remembering this correctly. But yes.
That's fair.
So.
And actually, thank you for the context of that, because that actually does explain some stuff.
Yeah.
I think this show gets an anti-creepy award. It removed the
God damn! You never get that award.
Yeah.
He's 29 to 33.
Oh shit, what? He's 33?
He's 29! He's 29 when we meet him.
Oh,
How old is
No.
That's almost. Oh, that's. How much? That's what?
10. She is 10.
10?
Oh.
Yep.
He is
That is
29 when
Cool.
she is in his class.
So that's almost a full 2 decades older than her. That's fucking bad.
Yeah.
That is roughly the age of everyone here. Can you imagine dating a 10-year-old right now?
No, I want a barf.
I think we should move on. I think we should move on. Should everyone move on? Let's move on.
Wait,
we can move on.
I think it's worse.
I don't.
Oh, no.
Come on. We know that it's not
She's
here though.
14. She's 14 when they get engaged.
No.
Ugh.
I'm ready to move on. Is everyone ready to move on?
Yes.
Can be.
Well, was that
on.
it? Was that it?
No, it's your turn.
It's your turn.
No,
now.
I mean, were you done? Okay.
I'm done. I'm done.
Okay. It just,
I think we're all
going
done.
through that. I mean, just going through that whole conversation. I just wonder if Clamp got mind controlled by pervy Japanese men when they wrote that part.
Feels very unclamp,
Well,
actually.
I
I
think
don't
they've
know.
had some
I
iffy
mean-
relationships, actually.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, a lot
that's-
The
of
thing
stuff.
about the magical girl genre is relationships with older men is not necessarily a thing that's like strange to it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
Clamp also definitely does have usually like not like very large age gaps, but definitely a tendency to lean towards where one partner feels more childish than the other who is like super parentified.
DLG.
But they are usually adults.
Huh.
Oh man.
Well, I mean, watching episode 9, I just thought that she thought I thought she just thought the teacher was creepy, or that she was that he was a strict teacher. I guess that change makes a lot more sense in hindsight. But the only other thing I would say about production is that I did like the fight between her and, well, not really a fight, but I did like the action sequence of her dodging the sword attacks, because, she was really going for the kill there, and I liked how she had to dodge the attacks while also not attacking her, and so I thought that was pretty fun overall. But I think we'll just move on to final thoughts.
Not yet.
Fuck me, I guess.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
I don't have too much else to add, except, I feel like I usually bring it up. I love the little fashion review Kara does at the end of the episodes, and I love that Angie Boy got his outfit reviewed. He gets to get in on the fashion moment.
He says he doesn't care about fashion, but maybe he does.
They should have stopped reading.
Oh
Does it get
no.
worse?
Stop
Now
reading. Just,
what?
I don't even want to know. I don't want to know.
He gave it to her when they first met.
The
Burn
right?
it. Burn everything. Burn everything.
Oh my.
Damn, I had a fun joke, but it just feels like in bad taste if I say it now. Well, not bad taste, but like,
it'll leave a bad taste in your mouth.
No, just I guess I don't know why we had to keep talking about this, because it's like we talked about it. I want to move on to just. I was gonna be like, so your boyfriend's sister was sneaking out the other day. It's another Letterkenny joke. Has nothing to do with anything. I'm just trying to lighten the mood. Okay. I'm gonna take
Final
us.
thoughts.
Yes, I need to take us into final thoughts here. So, I'm gonna try not to think about what I was just told, because it wasn't in this episode. Thank God.
Sorry.
Sorry. No, I like important context, but also,
Ick.
how deep down the rabbit hole do we gotta go? Does it ever reach a bottom of how bad that got? I don't know. Anyway, my thoughts on these episodes. Little clunky in parts, but overall, I still think most of the stuff that we're getting is really, really good overall. I like the progression of the characters, especially. The plot is moving along. Still episodic, but also still has hints of the larger plot and other things like that. There's a lot of new possibilities that are being presented, both through the cards and through the general world building and stuff. I still like the way that it looks and the music and everything else like that. And hey, I'm even praising this version's changes and localizations a little bit. So, you know what? I gotta say, yay to a yay overall for me.
Yeah, I would say I really enjoyed these episodes. I think everything has stayed really consistent with the show. I think it's still very enjoyable. I think the characters continue to be strong and very fun to follow. I think they added some new really good characters, and hopefully will continue to do that along those lines. So I have no real complaints this week. I would give it a yay.
Yeah, aside from the bits of clunkiness, I enjoyed the plots. I enjoyed the characters. We're getting to discover this world a little bit more, and just sort of like how the magic all sort of fits into like people in their lives. And also,
good job, Nelvana. You did good with rewriting that episode, even though it was clunky as shit. But yeah, those are my thoughts.
I don't really have too much to add. It's a fine show, and I think that, there's plenty of possibilities for different cards and abilities. I can understand why, the original show lasted so long and that there's been different spin-off shows or continuations. And yeah, I can see why it, it became the phenomenon that it was back in the day. So yeah, it's overall I can't really complain too much.
Yeah, the same. I don't really have any complaints. This is a solid show, and I think it is a magical girl show.
Fuck, man. I'm a cleanup girly at heart, but I cannot get over it. My
gotta purge
world
it from your
has just
memory.
been shattered.
You gotta-
Not in the
I'm
anime
sorry.
canon.
I'm worried that bringing this up might do that.
So we can all agree the dub is better than the sub now.
Yeah. Yeah, like,
This and
Okay.
Cowboy Bebop.
in fairness, I know that there were like a couple of relationships that were like really iffy. Like Sakura's dad was in his 20s and Sakura's mom was 17 when they got together.
Yep.
Icky, but Japan, it was legal for them. And then there's also a character we have not met yet who is really, really old and is like in love with Sakura, which is wanna punch him. Wanna punch him. But like, this is a show for children.
Yeah.
And they have grooming in it. And apparently someone went on the record as saying, no, it's like very pure and innocent. Fuck off!
Like one of the writers?
I don't know if it was a writer or an editor.
Okay. Yikes.
But they said that he is one of the most beloved side characters in Cardcaptor Sakura.
Who is?
No, if I met this man on the street, like, it's on sight.
So what are your thoughts on these episodes,
Toil
though?
his ass.
It's ruined my entire vibes for the episode. I originally just had for final thoughts. Oh yeah, baby, we're fashioning again.
Sorry.
It's not your fault. You were just speaking the truth, unfortunately.
Yes, you're just the messenger.
It was bothering me and I had to share it.
Fucking heck.
It is bothersome.
So I'm definitely not
Yeah,
reading
no.
the manga. I'm just gonna continue watching this dub, and that's it.
Especially because, like, episode 9 is supposed to be, like, focused around that specifically, and this is only edited for the localization, so I would imagine in the Japanese, while not as bad, it is still bad, and Magical Girl Tournament for little girls, I'm a nay, what an awful fucking message to send.
Damn. Okay. Well,
Wow.
why don't we?
I mean, hold up. There might be an argument to make that, like, you liked this show, right? And you had no idea about that, so
I watched this dub.
yeah. So the dub does a great job.
It does not erase that they put it in there, and we don't know at this point if the other dub stayed true to the original episode. And the original episode still exists, and it was seen by countless little girls in Japan.
I guess that's fair, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to choose to believe that only this dub exists, much like Cowboy Bebop.
Again, I will say they removed the engagement in the anime adaptation, so that is not there, but there's still some affection there. That still doesn't make it better, but yes.
So we're
Should've just
Moving
made
on.
sense.
yeah. All right. Let's move on. Let's just move on to the basically Power Rangers champion Magic Knight RayEarth. So what happened in RayEarth? We are continuing the adventures. We've already got our Escuela weapons. I know I keep saying that wrong. I know it's Escuda, but at this point, I just feel fun saying Escuela. We have the new weapons, and now we gotta go find the Rune Gods, which I'm assuming you can spoil this for me. Those are the mechas, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we're off to get
R-U-N-E.
R-U-N-E. Yeah, Rune.
like rune, like a magic
Yeah,
rune, not
magic runes.
rune is in a building. There are two different kind of ruin.
I said rune, not
wait.
ruin.
I'm gonna fight you, Al. I know where you
It's
live.
okay. Look, it's Discord. We can't hear each other that well. But yes, so the Rune Knights, or the Rune
Gods.
Gods,
There you
to Thing. Yes, the next part of our quest. We run back into Furio, who has been tracking them and listening in on their conversations, which is not creepy at all. And yeah, so our summoning person is back. They're trying to kill them in new ways, so they go to the
Ascot.
desert. Ascot, Neckerchief. Neckerchief is his name. And they go to the desert and they have to escape from a giant sand manta ray. I was actually thinking it was going to be a worm. I think they should have gone full Dune and made it a worm.
You
but that's
really
just-
wanted. Oh, I thought you were going Tremors.
Well, Tremors, here's the thing. Well, I mean, they all work like that, but I think more recently I've watched Dune, and it's like, walk without rhythm so you don't attract the worm kind of thing.
Y'all, but I've been playing Super Mario Sunshine. I love the sand manta part on the beach.
Okay, well, that's great for you. But yeah, so they have to fight that, and their weapons are beginning to evolve. We're seeing the Escuela at work. And we, first, Foos evolves whenever she, I guess, decides to, as Umi puts it, do something extremely reckless.
She had the power of the boner.
Yeah. It was like The Romance Desert was the name of the episode or something.
Yeah,
So-
that makes sense.
Yeah, and then we had an episode for Hikaru, who is such an animal lover. Honestly, they'd probably get along with Neckerchief if Neckerchief wasn't an asshole. And they find a cat, dog, thing, creature, fox? Something.
Fox.
Amongst a bunch of other dead animals, and they save it from another monster. But it turns out, it's evil. And oh my god, did it get evil quick and turn into a giant monster that almost killed them. But then, Hikaru pulled an old Yeller, and...
It's kind of her fault. She fed it after midnight.
That's true. That's true. We all know what the rules were. And, so that whole situation happened. I guess, what was her thing for making her weapon evolve? Like, killing her own emotions?
Yeah, like the grief of doing the right thing.
Yeah. Fucking...
Sacrifice.
Fucking dark, man.
Sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it was Umi's episode. She just wants so badly to do this fencing tournament that she wills herself out of existence for a minute while the rest of the world is frozen by the return of, oh god, what the hell was her name?
Alka-Seltzer.
Alka-Seltzer. Alka-Seltzer and Neckerchief are teaming up, but Alka-Seltzer betrays Neckerchief and their snail and turns the world into a frozen wasteland.
Not the world.
Not the world, just
A
the
very
area.
small bubble.
Yeah, bubble of ice.
A pocket dimension, if you would.
But then Umi realizes that she can't actually get with her captain, so she's gonna try to get back to her friends and defeats Alka-Seltzer. For good this time, I think. Probably. She blew up, right?
She did, but
Yeah.
that's not a necessary guarantee that she's dead.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
No one's ever really gone.
No.
No.
Yeah, so Neckerchief is on thin ice, and we're getting some possibilities for some other evil henchmen to step up to the fight at some point. So, yeah. Weapons are evolving. They're moving on, trying to get mechas, which sounds awesome. And yeah. Yin, what do you think of this plot?
I thought it moved along pretty well. I think we're still getting some good adventurous stuff. I liked the individual episodes well enough. I feel like I really liked the third one. I liked the one where, she kind of has to face her obsession with getting back to Tokyo and the sword competition and everything. I thought there was some good character stuff there too. And the one in the middle, I don't know why, it just I don't know if I was just getting a little bit bored, and then the third one I was a little bit more interested. I feel like I lost a little bit of interest with that episode, but I think overall it was still solid. I think all three of these episodes were pretty good. And I liked the cute thing that turned into the monster or whatever. I think that was fun. So I enjoyed these plots overall. I thought they were good. Yeah, I'd give it like a light yay.
So I'll also give these a light yay. They're definitely more episodic episodes. Each of their plots is pretty self-contained. Each of the girls sort of gets like her own individual episode, because we got Fu for episode 7, sort of her with Furio in the desert, and then we get Hikaru's is more sort of about like her and like her wanting to like, you know, still protect this animal that is now trying to hurt her and her friends, and she must decide between like her friends are more important, even though she still wants to like protect this now giant creature.
Oh wait, that was the second one?
Yeah.
Oh, so the
Yes.
first
Yeah.
one was the one I did not find as interesting. Okay, I was wrong. I'll amend that.
Okay. I feel like that tracks. Like I think that was the Fu episode.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that tracks then.
Okay.
And then episode 9 is Umi's episode, and sort of her sort of dealing with her inner conflict of like, she really just wants to go back to Tokyo, but she knows she has to save Saphiro in order to do that, but she's pretty homesick and she wants to compete in the tournament, and so it's kind of like her having to like face that turmoil of herself that she needs to like stick around for Saphiro to save it, and you know, that's the only way she's going to be able to go home. So I enjoyed these. There isn't really like an overarching plot with them, aside from like them all like sort of like evolving their swords. So, you know, I thought they were fine. So, light yay.
So, I have some thoughts. Episode 7, I overall didn't mind, you know, the flirty romance between Fu and Furio. I still don't know why he initially decided to betray them. I get it, he's the lone bounty hunter and he finds the error of his ways and helps them, but it's like he had a good rapport with them in the first time we saw them, and now he decides, it's worth it for me to betray them. It's like, really? Like, you didn't have a good connection with them, now you're gonna betray them initially?
Can I like chime in there on why that is? They did not portray it very well in the dub. But the reason he goes that far and decides, like, he's going to go rescue Emerald himself and betray the Knights is because he had that listening device on them. And, like, he lost hope in them, which I feel like was played off as a joke in this dub. But, like, he was actually kind of like, there's no way they're going to be able to do this. I'm just going to go do it myself.
I kind of got that.
But then when he comes to the realization of what that would actually cost him, like, personally allowing to happen, he was like, okay, no, I can't do it.
Alright, I guess that makes sense. Episode 9 was a good episode. We see Umi, you know, coming to terms with, you know, realizing, yeah, it's not going to be a quick journey. I'm going to be here in the long run. I'm choosing to stay here now and give it my all, so, you know, good for her. Episode 8, I didn't know whether to say this for her plot or characters, but I guess I'll just say it now. Hikaru, I like you, but you irritated me the hell in the back half of the second episode. Like, in the beginning, I get it. She misses her dog. I love my dog, too. My first dog and my current dog. I love my doggos. I get that. You miss your doggo, and you bonded with this new creature as your replacement. Fair enough. And I understand the trope of wanting to protect the animal, but when it becomes a 30-foot giant monster hell-bent on destruction and clearly threatening to kill all 3 of you, no, we can save it. I was like, really? Are you that stupid? Are you that blinded? It's like that one episode of SpongeBob where he had the killer, it was going back to the gremlins. It was like that one episode of SpongeBob where SpongeBob had that magic pet and it terrorized poor Gary the whole episode, and SpongeBob was a complete idiot and didn't notice it the entire time. And that just made me think of that. And that episode of SpongeBob was horrible. So you reminded me of a bad SpongeBob episode, and you're making one of your main characters act like an idiot. And it's like, okay, she finally sees the light of her ways, but it's like you couldn't have seen that when, you know, you 3 nearly died from this creature. Like, and maybe the creature was innocent, maybe it was transformed by the midget or whatever his name was, and, but it's like, yeah, handkerchief, but it's like I'm sorry, that maybe I'm the only one that felt that disconnect, but like I felt really disconnected from that episode. It's like you're suspending my disbelief for how naive and stupid you can be.
Okay, so someone didn't watch Clifford?
That's what suspends your disbelief?
Yes.
Can you imagine if Emily Elizabeth hadn't been so kind? Like, Clifford's too big. Time to put him down.
No.
Hey, Clifford was a gentle gentle giant. They just couldn't live.
But he was a menace.
Yeah, but they were living in a studio apartment in New York. They moved to
studio
Cornwall
apartments
Island
in New
with
York
plenty
make
of
good
space.
menaces.
It's not enough room for a puppy to run around. Leave him alone.
Guys, just imagine if Clifford was a cat.
Oh my god.
He would've-
Clifford tore that
No, he would have
town
destroyed
up.
everything.
Clifford would be playing with everyone's
He
car.
already was, and everyone was just like, "Oh, Clifford."
He's just a doggy.
He's just a big angry boy.
Yeah.
He's not angry.
That's why he's red.
I'm gonna say Clifford was a good boy.
What happened?
Oh, I
He's
mean,
fucking
the
dead.
show's been off the air for years, so
That means
Clifford's
he's
fucking
dead.
dead, Cece.
Yeah.
He might be at this point.
You know, big dogs don't live as long, so probably put that proportionally. He only lives 6 months.
No.
How many calories do you think that dog would have had to eat on a regular basis?
Yeah, like how?
Yeah.
I'm sure someone's done the math.
I'm sure Tumblr
I mean-
has done the math.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Abby, do you have a rating for this week?
Oh, it was, I guess, a high meh high meh.
I do like that each of the girls kind of got like their own episode, but I wasn't feeling Foos. I did like the dog, and I did like Umi being like, I can't get with my fencing captain. Alright, fine, I guess I'll go back and be a hero.
I agree that it feels very monster of the week, or at least this is the girl we're focusing on for the week. But at the same time, I don't think I necessarily agree that it doesn't have an overarching plot going. This is not a show where you could kind of hop in on any episode and understand what's going on. Like, you have to be following them sequentially to kind of have an idea where we're at and the impact of some things. Like, we're getting a lot of carryover. Obviously, Ascot is our villain for the arc. We're getting some really good progress with him. We're having really great character moments. And overall, we are still heading in a direction, even though they keep getting held up. Like, they are on their way to the Rune Gods. Mokana is just taking them on some detours to life. It's like, I feel like we are going at a good pace. I feel like it resembles like an actual journey. Like, I like that they're not just, oh, we have to go get the Rune God, and like, poof, 2 episodes later they're there. Like, I like that we have stuff happening in between, and that stuff is evolving either the world, or the girls, or the villains. So I'm a yay here.
Yeah, I think I feel pretty similarly. This is in the basically Power Rangers category, and in a lot of ways I think that it does really feel that way because, yeah, every episode of Power Rangers is also very Monster of the Week episodic, but there is, at least in the really well-written seasons, an overall arcing plot that is slowly progressing. I think that's exactly what we're having here. I'm in fact kind of starting to see the delineation of like different arcs, especially with as far as like who they're fighting and what they're trying to achieve. Like last time it was with Alka-Seltzer and they were trying to get the Escuela and all that sort of stuff, all the wrong words at all the wrong times. But now that we have those and we're kind of like, we've already lost the mentor character and that sort of thing, we're moving into like, all right, let's take what we've already learned and let's develop it, let's evolve it, let's strengthen it more. And I do like that they're doing that while still also having time to do the Monster of the Week thing and having the individual characters, episodes and stuff. So I feel like it's a really fantastic balance of these two different types of storytelling that you need for a long-running series like this. So I'm a full yay. I believe that's it. Why don't we talk characters? Chibi? Why don't you start?
Okay, so I kind of already sort of touched on like character things a little bit with plot when I was talking about their episodes. Like I feel like I talked about it, but my brain is like turning to mush
Oh no.
right now, trying to think of how to like reiterate that, even though I don't really want to reiterate what I already said. So is it okay if I just give, like, my rating and we move on?
How about
Is that
you
alright?
tell us horrible things that happen in the manga that hopefully they change for this one?
There's actually
these episodes aren't in it.
yeah.
Okay, so there is stuff. Okay, that's great.
Oh no.
That's great to fucking know. You know what? I asked.
You did.
It's only 6 volumes.
Yeah, so, like, we are currently, like, I would say towards the end of volume 2. And
Okay.
the thing is we're not even halfway through this show.
All right.
So they're padding it. They're padding it quite a bit for this anime.
Oh dear.
But it's giving a lot of depth.
It is giving depth. I will agree for that. It's definitely, like, giving them more character. But, like, yeah, these episodes are not anywhere within the manga. There might be bits and pieces of them somewhere within the manga, but these episodes themselves are not. So I would say as far as character stuff goes, I'll give it a light yay, because, you know, they are realizing things about themselves and they're, like, sort of dealing with, like, inner struggles.
I think I pretty much said what I needed to say about what I liked and didn't like about the characters when I talked about plots. I'll just summarize it with, I still like the main trio. I still think they carry the show. It was just that one episode that kind of just bothered it for me personally, but I still enjoy the characters. And what's the creature's name?
Mokina.
Yeah, they are still precious. So I will say that. So I give it a high met for characters.
Yeah, like Hikaru's big dog girl energy. Big dog, but dog girl in a large amount energy. The characters are really tied to the plots for these weeks, like what Chibi was saying. I have nothing interesting to say.
Okay. Mokina is my beloved. She's the best character. I love her to pieces. I still really like that overall they feel like teenagers. It could have gone in either direction where they feel really childish or really mature where they shouldn't be, but, like, they're perfectly balanced. I did also really like for Fario that he was pretty resolved to betray them, and he turned it around because he realized, like, he couldn't actually go through with it. I feel like they really did Fu kind of a disservice these couple episodes. Like, she's known Fario for, like, less than 48 hours. She's willing to die for him, which is weird. Especially when she's like, me, I am my most important person. I come first because I know my own value.
What happened to her savage?
Yeah. But there was no savage badass Fu. I also like the characterization we got for Ascot, because it felt like he cares about these monsters that he's sending after the girls. But then we also get this moment with the wolf, where we kind of see it's more of like a possessive kind of friendship. And I do agree that Hikaru was kind of annoying, but I do overall like that she was willing to look past, like, the circumstance of the dog being a monster. She's like, she was willing to give it, being a monster doesn't always equal that you're evil by default. And there was a moment where it did look like she was breaking through to Hikari, which is why I think it was so hard for her to actually put her down. And then I adored the arc they had for Umi, because I feel like this is the first time we've kind of seen one of the girls crumble under this pressure, because let's be real here, they are in mortal peril constantly. They have the weight of this world on their shoulders. They're actually seeing the repercussions of what will happen if they don't save this world. And all she had wanted prior to this was to be good at fencing. So, like, she has a lot of grief over, like, what her life was, her homesickness, and I feel like what it is she knows she has to do. And I like that they showed that, and they also showed her resolving to see it through because that's the right thing. So I'm also a yay on characters.
Okay, so I'm gonna say something that, Cozy, you might not like what I have to say here. I'm just gonna warn you, but just hear me out here.
One of us engaged to a 30-year-old.
Do not say anything bad about Mokina. I will cry.
Mokina is precious. But can I throw out... Mokina is a little bit of a dick. I'm just gonna say it. Because in that... Admittedly, episode 7 was not the best episode for this week, but... They were like, oh, we don't know what to do. If only we knew what to do. And that's when Mokina decides to tell them what to do. Like, you couldn't do that earlier, so we weren't just wandering around for a little while? Like, I feel like Mokina has all the information and is only drip feeding it to them. It's a little bit dickish when the world is at stake.
So, I'm not mad about that because that is actually part of her character.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember, but when she was introduced, she was trolling Prosciutto.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so does this lend to my theory that Mokina is in charge of everything and is the dungeon master of this entire game?
I'm still gonna say no.
I'm gonna say yes, because I'm gonna be real with you. I'm a dungeon master. That is absolutely something I would do.
Okay, I will tell you this. Mokina is the dungeon master's cat.
Okay. So there is a dungeon master. Is it Clef? Is Clef chucking real hard right now?
It is not. No.
Okay.
No.
Someone is chucking real hard right now. Anyway, that's not really a complaint. It is a little bit funny that it's only at the very moment that they ask for it that they actually get the information they needed for so long. But like, whatever. Yeah, these were good episodes, I think, for character stuff. Foos was felt like a little bit of a rehash from the first, like, Forest of Silence kind of episode where we met Furio before. And it's a little that the main episodes that kind of, like, focus on Fu only seem to be also about Furio, which is not great. But the other episodes, I think, pick it back up a little bit. Umi's is good. I still say she's a lesbian. I don't have no idea how she gets with Clef in the end of this. This doesn't make any sense at all. But yeah, you're right. Her straight up wanting out of this bad situation is absolutely a relatable scenario. And in a world powered by will, she does will herself almost out of the scenario, which is interesting, but chooses to go back. And yeah, that's strong. That is heroic. That is understanding that the situation you're in is horrible and that you don't want to be in it, but being in there anyway. I'm like, that's a hero right there. And I do love that you guys brought up the thing about Hikaru and Ascot's like difference of how they view friendship, whereas one is possession versus one is acceptance, and let's just call it what it is. It's love. And I do like that sort of like clear delineation between like these very similar feelings, but that come from very different perspectives and intentions. And I think that's great. That's an incredible level of nuance for this show. Because like when he starts crying at first, like because we saw in the last couple episodes, Ascot was crying over like the dead animal. And I was thinking, and I even said like, oh, he actually cares about these things. Now it feels less like he cares about him, and it's more like it's a child crying over a broken toy as opposed to a lost friend. And that makes a huge difference. Now he seems even more evil. And I do like especially speaking of the evil, the villains, I do think we're not seeing as much of them yet, but I see that there's like some some inner circle politics and like some possible backstabbing. Well, I mean, there was definite backstabbing from Alka-Seltzer's part, but like there's a little more nuance to what's going on here. They're not just an evil council who's all on the same page. They all seem to have their own individual things going on, and I'm interested to see a little bit more of that as we keep going. So I think overall I'm a yay. Maybe a light yay. Foos was a little bit down, but you know. Oh, actually, you know what? I got to dock points for something. Because and especially it was in Foo's episode, they said something along the lines of pastries have to take a back seat to justice. And I'm like, no. You can have both. You eat on the way. Like, I don't know what world you're living in where you can't have pastries and justice. But yeah.
Yeah, so once again, I kind of agree with everyone else. I think Foos was the weak spot. Like I said originally, I thought it was the second episode. It was the first episode we watched. Yeah, I feel like it just kind of was what we already saw from her before and what we saw from this relationship before. I'm not very invested in their romance. I don't think it's really adding much for me. It's actually detracting from her character a little bit. So I was not crazy about that whole deal. I like the character stuff we got from the others, though, especially the blue-haired girl. I think we got some good stuff for her. Because she was kind of like getting on my nerves a little bit before, but then I feel like this episode really solidified for me that I like her, and I think she's a really interesting character with a good conflict. I feel like the girls still work really well together as a team. I think we are getting like little bits and pieces for the villains that are interesting overall. So there was some highlights, and then I feel like Foos was like the downer for me. I feel like mostly it was the third episode that I got anything new that I really enjoyed. So I don't know, it was a bit of a mixed bag overall character-wise. So I would give it like a high meh.
You saying that just made me realize Fook does not pass the Bechdel test.
Yeah, not really.
For someone so self-obsessed.
Yeah, the others do.
She's self-obsessed for other people's sake. She's like, I am my most important person.
Until
like,
Furio's in the
around,
room.
how's it gonna affect my family? Until this guy shows up. And then all that goes out the window.
Oh, I bet she loved Twilight when it came out.
But I feel like, because Chibi, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were like, no, I kind of like that. She was like, no, I'm important. That's why I'm my own most important person. I feel like with this kind of batch of episodes, seeing that like all they're really giving her in terms of characterization is her romance with Fario, it more just feels like they really didn't have anything for her to face.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like that whole episode where they are in the fountain when they're in spring, since that is in the manga, I feel like that is actually something that happened, but I think they are more heavily trying to figure out, like, the relationship stuff at this point, since, from what I can tell, it's in the manga, but it's not quite as heavily going to be talked about for some characters other than others, but her and Furio's thing is definitely a more solid one, so I think they're probably trying to focus on it a little bit more and hammer it in. But, yeah, no, I feel like it's a little bit of a detractor for her character for that episode, unfortunately, but I didn't write it. And neither did Clamp. Of course, I don't know how involved they were with these episodes, so.
Alright, well, why don't we talk about the world building? Envy, why don't you give us your thoughts?
Most of the world building was basically, here's a monster that the little brat makes, and they have to defeat it, and that was pretty much it for the most part, at least from what I saw. With their weapons, can they use, like, can Fu use a bow and Yumi use a rapier, or are they only stuck with the swords from now on?
No, they can't.
Okay, because I was just wondering why they were only using the swords. I thought, like, there was times where I thought Umi could have used, or Fu could have used a bow and arrow, but she just used the sword, so I didn't know if they were only stuck with that now.
Because it's filler.
I guess.
They're padding a lot of this out, because the manga is definitely, I think, a little more rushed.
Yes.
Yeah. But, I mean, that was the only question I had. So, yeah, really not much for me with world building, too much. So, yeah, it's a meh overall.
I don't know if this is more world building or production, but they set this weird precedent where every time somebody gets hit, they end up lying face down. Just completely red jumpsuit apparatus. It was just so funny. Every time I looked up, they were just face first, flat out on the ground.
Face down in the dirt. This doesn't hurt. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Every time we were like, oh no, she's fucking dead. Oh no, she needs some milk.
And then we got to that clearing with all the dead animals. Like, we need a lot of milk.
Honestly, we got to that part and I was like, oh, they all just EP. And then I was like, no, wait, they not EP.
I was like, there's no guarantee they're dead. They could be sleeping.
Oh no, who knocked out all these woodland creatures?
Right.
Who cast the sleep spell? Where's Mothra? Did she pour the sleep dust?
Woof, that did get a little dark. And then we ruined it by being like, they need milk.
I'm really happy with the world building. I feel like we have a lot of like subtle world building going on in terms of environments. We're seeing a lot of different like sections of Sephiroth. Like we've seen the forest now, we have seen desert, we've seen like the weird little mountain plain area they were in. So like it's just like a little subtle thing, but like they are moving, and as they're moving we're seeing like different scenery, which is nice. I also really like that we have not had a repeat monster yet. We are getting like wholly new original threats they have to face. Even though, like, the overarching threat is Ascot right now, like, every new thing he sends at them has a new thing they need to figure out on how to beat it. We're also seeing Sephiroth start to crumble. We're seeing more of the earthquakes. In episode 9, we actually saw stuff starting to break apart. We're seeing, like, all of the animals in the magical beast, like, losing their homes and stuff. And then we did also get that they can still evolve their weapons. Like, there is still more to do in terms of them being magic knights. They still have more work to put into it. It wasn't just, oh, you got the escudo and bam, you get a little gold sticker on your forehead. So, again, like, I feel like it's a little subtle. And they also, like, they are drip feeding it to us by Mokina. But I'm really happy with the world building. So I'm like a light yay. I feel like they could definitely be giving us more, but I am happy with what we have.
Yeah, I also like the world building here. I think you're right, it is subtle. I do like the monsters, the different environments, the various different things. There's also, we can add elements of like, I said this in characters, but also here we could include it, the sort of inner politics of the villains can be considered world building a little bit. There's more going on there. There's the element of Furio, for as much as we're complaining about his episode, it also is showing there are other people and different things that are happening trying to fix the situation beyond the Magic Knights, which is like, again, lends itself to this living, breathing world a lot better, which is fantastic. This living, breathing world that is dying. And yeah, it's very solid. I don't know that I have anything really to complain about here. Oh, you know what? I have one comment. And this is just sort of something that I thought would be really funny. When Mocha does the guiding light thing and shoots out that laser, I just wanted someone in the distance of the wood to just be like, ah, oh my god, I'm blind!
It would be funny until it wasn't, because pre-Porygon.
yeah, but I don't know, yeah, pretty solid, so overall, yay.
I feel like the world building is pretty good overall. I don't feel like I got much new from these episodes I hadn't seen before from it. I feel like it's still pretty solid though. I don't know, once again, it's kind of like a high meh for me.
I would say it's very subtle, like to the point that I wasn't really like catching anything. So I guess for me, I would consider it somewhere between a high meh and a light yay.
Okay. Shall we move on to production then? Cece, why don't you give us your thoughts?
Ending song still slaps. Still love the little chibis running across the screen. I've said that every single time, but I'm gonna keep saying it. It's super cute. I love it.
I don't know why, but the opening for episode 7 was in Japanese, and that slaps just as hard.
Yeah, I'll just say that just came as I found it. I think it was a weird thing. Also, for that episode, it didn't have any music for the ending, so I had to cut that in from a different part just for consistency. But just sort of a weird, it was probably just an upload element. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I mean,
appreciate that.
I did not actually realize, and keep in mind, I have seen like the Japanese of this. I did not realize that the English opening was just a direct translation.
Oh yeah, man, they did that all the
And
time
I'm
back then.
surprised by how well it works.
You thought Sailor Moon was the only one that did that?
Again, art style is a little weird, but the animation itself is really well done most of the time. I liked what they did with the beginning of episode 7 with like the little crayon chibi stuff going on. It was like a fun little break. Again, like the chibi elements are nice because there's a lot of really heavy stuff going on, but it really helps lighten the overall tone of the show and bring back some like humor to the situation. When they meet up with Fario again in episode 7, I'm not sure what the fuck happened, but Umi and Hikaru's eyes like bugged out and they like kept shifting sizes. And it definitely looked like an animation error versus like an intentional thing. But Fu's VA put all of her talent and all of her hard work into that one scream of Fario. The most emotion I've ever heard out of her. Like a nitpicky thing, but in Hikaru's episode, at the very end, they buried the wolf, yeah?
Yeah.
We see like a big mound of dirt with a little grave marker.
Yeah.
What did they bury?
I think it might be symbolic.
We saw her burst into light, but like, that was a huge pile of dirt.
So they buried that little strip thingy that she had in her hands.
And Hikaru was just like, I gotta be extra. She was a big girl.
Yeah. I mean, people will bury empty coffins.
Yeah.
Okay, but again, that was a like metric fuck ton of dirt.
That's true.
And
They've
then
got a whole world to be saving, and she's just doing a side quest of digging the biggest grave she can for something that was atomized.
also a little nitpicky thing. This is a localization thing, 100%. They had Fu calling Mokina Sir Mokina. Mokina is a girl, like canonically, not even like the
Oh,
like.
okay. I was very confused on that because the Wikipedia, and I don't know if Wikipedia is, just lying to me, but Wikipedia also uses he pronouns for Mokina.
It's because it's English.
Hang on. Let me
There
look in the
are-
volumes. I have them right here.
There are male Mokinas. Our Mokina is not.
Maybe it's Sir like Marcy says Sir in Peanuts.
You know, there
She gives
is
Marcy
actually
vibes.
there are like female knights that you call Sir or Dam, so
Yeah.
I guess.
We have 3 of them here.
Again, it's just like a little nitpicky thing, but like Mokina is a girl. I just want to really stress that. It's not even like the nebulous, the gender neutral pronoun that they can use. Other than that, like my biggest gripe, we have seen that Fu can heal. It happened exactly once and we have never seen it again. Like, how many times during these, like, past 5 episodes since we found out she could do it, could we have used that ability?
Right.
Oh, Prosecco's dying. Yeah, guess she's dead. Oh, Hikaru and Umi got beat down into the dirt. That sucks, bro. Get on up, dust your knees off. Oh, look, a small, tiny, wounded animal. I'll use a first aid kit. Like, she has the ability to just bring it back.
It's giving first time cleric a little bit. It's like, I discovered I have spiritual weapon. Why am I using my slots for anything else now?
It's weird. So, like, overall, I'm probably like a high meh. Because, like, there are elements I enjoy, but there's also just a lot of, like, why the fuck did you make that choice?
I'm still like a lot of what's going on here. I think the art style has continued to be very enjoyable, both in its chibi form and its regular form. New monsters, always cool to look at and interesting. Yeah, Fu definitely put a lot more effort into that little bit there, so I'll give them that. Their scream whenever they got attacked by the dog, though, that kind of came out of nowhere for me. I don't know why. It was just like, that was a real scream in there. But yeah, you say ED is a banger. What about the opening, though? That opening is amazing. And what a use, I know I keep praising it, but what a use of guitar. What a fantastic use of 80s electric guitar. I also gotta give the production a lot of points, because I had a moment when Hikari, the little creature, started transforming, and the cut to them like bubbling or whatever. I literally was sitting there in my room watching this, and I was just went, "Oh damn!" Like, you actually got a reaction of me like that, because it is a stark contrast from when it goes from adorable to scary, and it's like, oh shit, that was actually pretty cool. So I do like that. I can call this production. They really decided to go with a dark tone in some of these situations. And yes, that they also have a very comedic tone to a lot of this, and it is a nice contrast here and there, but like, they weren't going to shy away from stuff, because I do remember, at least American stuff. I remember, if anyone remembers the first G.I. Joe movie, the animated one, they had certain story elements that they decided to change. If you don't know, the Transformers movie had come out like either earlier that year or the year before, and if you know about the Transformers movie, they kill Optimus Prime. He dies in that. And they were also going to kill off one of the main characters, I think the leader of the group in the G.I. Joe movie. But after a very negative response to Optimus Prime dying, they decided to change it in the dub. So the moment that he dies and he like closes his eyes, clearly dead, so another character just chimes in as like, "Oh no, he's in a coma." It's like, no,
boy.
Like, and I want to point out they couldn't change the other elements of the animation. So like at the very end, like after they beat Cobra or whatever, the main character is like, "Hey, we got him," and like you see him clearly dead, be like his face like a ghost over the skyline or whatever. Is like, okay, that's a dead person thing. You're gonna still say he's in a coma? All right, whatever.
He's in a coma.
He's in a coma. It's like, okay, good on you, dub, for not just being like, "Oh no, they're all in a coma." Like, no, you're not going to shy away from the death element of this. I'm honestly impressed by that. So good on you for that. But yeah, so I think overall here I'm a yay. I just wanted to talk about G.I. Joe for a minute.
What are we in right now?
Production.
Okay. Yeah, I would say the production on this has been pretty consistently good. Once again, I really like the art style. I like the music. Definitely the ED is cute.
I'm the only one who likes the opening?
I like the vibe of the opening as well.
I like the opening.
I know you like the opening as well. Yeah.
But yes,
The opening is stuck in my head right now. I could not tell you how the ending goes.
Yeah, the opening and the ending are both pretty good though. So I think I've enjoyed overall like how this has been done. I don't feel like there's been like too many like bad or cheap moments or anything like that. I feel like they put like a good amount into the production. I'd give it like a light yay. Oh, why were you giving me a look?
I don't know, I just looked over at you.
Oh, okay.
We're
I
talking.
think like a light yay.
This is what happens when you're in a room with someone and you're recording. Sometimes I'm just going to look over at you.
Why are you looking at me?
Yeah, like don't perceive me while I'm talking.
I need you to look at me when I'm giving my opinion.
No thanks.
I can't finish my thought unless you look at me.
Sounds like some weird voyeuristic tendencies.
Yep.
Or exhibitionist, sorry.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I was just giving Cozy the creepiest stare for several seconds since she did not look up once.
That's the tism, baby.
Yeah, I don't really have any complaints really about production. Everything's still good. Yay.
Yeah, I really don't have anything to add either. It's good.
Alrighty. Cozy, why don't you take us into final thoughts?
First, my extraneous thought. That snail, that is the snail that's chasing you when they're like, you can live forever, but if the snail catches you, you'll die.
So that's how it kills you, huh? It just kills you.
Yeah.
No, it puts you in a coma.
Oh, that's right.
It did not put them in a coma. Alka-Seltzer did that. Overall, I really like the dynamics we have. While it could be argued this doesn't necessarily feel like magical girl, I really like that it's maintaining a lot of those elements while opening it up so it can be enjoyed by a wider audience. Because, like, I can 100% see, like, little girls 100% getting behind this, being very excited for this, really loving the show. But we are older and of various demographics, and I feel like we all have found something we really enjoy about the show as well. So I feel like it's doing a pretty good job. I'm a yay here.
Yeah, this show's fucking solid. I got no other way to describe this. I probably do have other ways to describe this without expletives, but I won't. So, yeah, the story's been solid so far. It's continued to be pretty solid. Hiccups otherwise. It's still progressing very well, and I like that they're giving really strong moments to the characters. Characters are really good. The world building is subtle and yet very effective. The production is good, solid. I love some electric guitar. I got no complaints here, I don't think. So, yeah, full yay.
Yeah, I would say that this show continues to be really good, really engaging. I do think it has like a solid plot and characters going on. I do feel like some of it was a little bit more meh for me this week, especially surrounding that one episode with Fu and the character of what they're doing with her. So I feel like it went down a couple of points for me, but overall it's still really good. I'm still really enjoying it. And I want to see what happens next. I want to see the rest of the journey of these girls. So I would give it a light yay.
Yeah, I would say that overall, like, despite, like, these 3 episodes, like, maybe being a little bit more character-centric and, like, maybe not being quite as engaging for me, while still being, like, you know, pretty decent episodes, I would give this a light yay because still doing its job, still good episodes. I'm still liking the characters, even though, like, a couple of them were a little annoying and some of it was kind of but yeah.
I didn't enjoy these 3 episodes as much as episode 4 through 6, but I still like the show enough to want to keep watching it if it moves on to the finals. So I'll give it a light yay for final thoughts.
So I feel like it's been brought up before in this tournament that, like, the ways to widen the demographic for magical girl shows is to add fan service. Like, oh, if this looks like a little too cutesy, a little too girly, you just strip them and then the boys will watch it. And this is doing the opposite of that. And that is, if you want girls to be into something, you take a boys show and just make the main characters girls. And I feel like a lot of the companies, they don't realize that, but, like, girls like tough girls. We want to see girls as knights. And I think the show does a wonderful job of that. It's a full yay for me.
So Alka-Seltzer doesn't count as fan service?
I mean, yeah, but, like, that's not... That's not my point.
She doesn't exist to be fan service.
Okay, yeah,
like,
that's fair.
her character is not focused on how, like, titillating she is. It is just an element added onto her character versus her reason for existence, you know?
Yeah, I get it. I'm just being a
At
dick.
least she's an adult.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
fantastic. What a
I
wonderful
would say
thing
that
is.
it's a residual, like, if this is a boys' show, that's a leftover part from that.
The weirdest thing I think was that one angle with the baker where they were, like, looking up and she was smacking her stomach, which is a thing they do in Japan, but, like, the jiggle physics when they did it, I'm like,
That was a little weird.
it feels weird. It feels like it was, like, a kink thing, and I don't know why.
It was more weird than anything, I think.
Nah, someone was really into those jiggle physics, man.
All right, anything else to say about Magic Knight RayEarth before we finish this off?
No.
Alrighty then. Well, one of these two gotta go. Big decisions. So, I guess I'll start us off. Plot. I will say out the gate, I think these two have been some of the most solid shows that we've had throughout the tournament as a whole. And I think a lot of these categories were very close for me throughout this. Overall, though, I'm probably going to give plot to Magic Knight RayEarth. I do think that both of these shows are including a very episodic elements and very like Monster of the Week kind of things. But I do feel like overall there is a larger quest going on that I can actually see and feel a little bit more in Magic Knight RayEarth. Though I'm going to say again, I've been kind of saying this whole it's winning by like 51 to 49 kind of thing, and it's kind of the same thing here. But yeah, Magic Knight RayEarth for me this week.
For plot, it's interesting because if I look at the individual plots of these 3 episodes, I think I enjoyed the Cardcaptor Sakura ones better. The overarching plot, I can see what you're saying, where I think RayEarth is going down a more interesting path for an overarching plot. So I'm kind of like split a little bit on how I feel in terms of that. Maybe come back to me.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it sad that I was also gonna say the same thing?
Okay,
Oh,
we'll see who
no.
comes back and who's... Hey, I said it was going to be close this week. Envy, where are you at?
Well, actually, no, I'm joking. I'm sure.
Okay,
No,
I just want
I-
to say that if everyone was abstaining, it's literally just down to me then, because I made a decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I will say that while both stories had some irritants for me this week, but I think you brought up a good point with Magic Knight RayEarth is a journey that still has a quest that's following through these episodes, and you could argue that episode 8 and 9 of Cardcaptor was kind of like a two-parter in the sense of the way they told its story, but it's still kind of episodic, so I guess I'll give the slight edge to plot for Magic Knight RayEarth, mainly just due for the direction that they took.
Yeah, I think I'm also going to give it to RayEarth. I mean, Cardcaptor Sakura does have the whole, like, gotta catch them all, get all the cards back, but I think there's more to the RayEarth plot.
I was kind of hoping like there would be arguments in both directions to see like where I landed, because like I'm a Clamp girly at heart. Like Clamp does not flop, okay? Except with that one relationship. But
Sorry, can I just say, it was a little weird for me last week when you were like, I'm going to completely abstain from all of it. This is the week that I actually feel like it would make more sense almost for you to abstain because you like both of them.
I really did not like the episodes we had last week.
I thought that would make you want to hate something more.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Well, I couldn't kick both of them.
That's true.
I will go with RayEarth though. Like I do agree. Like there is more of a plot happening, even though it is still Monster of the Week. There's more going on in the background. We're still like marching towards something solid, whereas with Sakura, we have a goal, but it's very like we don't know what the antagonist is. We don't know what the obstacles getting in her way of getting all the cards back are going to be. Like it's a very like far out there goal, so we're kind of lacking direction, I feel like.
All right. So, Magic Knight RayEarth takes plot. Yin, why don't you tell us who gets your yay for characters?
I would actually say Cardcaptor Sakura gets my yay for characters. I was disappointed in Fu this week, whereas I enjoyed all of the characters in Cardcaptor Sakura. I didn't really have any complaints there, so I'll give it to that one.
I think Magic Knight RayEarth, like, while the episode plots definitely, like, tackled our characters a little bit, the thing is that I feel like these episodes might be recurring themes that we might come back to later, possibly, just because these are sort of, like, character-based filler episodes. And I don't know, I don't feel like they might make as big of an impact as they probably should in the grand scheme of the plot. I don't know, because we haven't gotten past this part yet. But I will say with what we got for the characters with Cardcaptor Sakura, I liked seeing Sakura struggle a little bit with, like, self-doubt, because, you know, like, Lee just showed up and he's shaking her confidence, which I find is, like, a pretty realistic human behavior. Tomoyo's she's just being cool and just being smart and, you know, just hanging out. Lee's interesting. He is angry cat boy, but also I know what happens with his character later, but I'm not gonna bring that into this. But I think he's a fine character. I think he shakes things up a little bit. And yeah, I enjoy the characters for Cardcaptor a little more, so I'm gonna give it to Cardcaptors for characters.
Cardcaptor gets my vote because episode 8 of Magic Knight RayEarth insulted my intelligence.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm also gonna give it to Cardcaptor Sakura. I do like all of the main characters in both shows, but you convinced me that Fu really did drop the ball this week.
Yeah, I'm also giving it to Cardcaptor. Like, we had really great mirrors of a lot of characterization moments. Like, we had Sakura with her self-doubt and Umi with her self-doubt, which I feel like are very comparable. I really just I'm a sucker for the very healthy sibling dynamics, even if that leads to a 17-year-old beating up a 10-year-old, I guess. And again, like, it really feels like episode 7 detracted from Fu's overall character, and she didn't have much to start with. Like I kind of said to Cheebs earlier, like, it feels like what they did here kind of subtracts from the episode with the test, because it makes it feel like they don't have a plan for her outside of Fario, and the romance isn't believable. She's known him for less than 48 hours, and he just betrayed them.
Hey, that's Disney animation logic.
Yes.
But this is not like a Disney show, and when you've had really great moments of characterization that are based in, like, reality, like, these feel like teen girls, where Fu is, like, this kind of sensible, knowledgeable one who doesn't go out and do crazy things, for her to go out and do something reckless, for a guy we really have not gotten that much chemistry with her, it doesn't feel in character for what we know of her. And they haven't presented us with any reasons why she would believably do it.
Yeah, so I'm also Cardcaptor Sakura because it's been its most solid characteristic for the entire tournament, and it's still the same here, so, solid. Cardcaptor Sakura takes the character division. We move on next to world building. Chibi, why don't you tell us who gets your yay for that?
I'm gonna abstain because I didn't really feel one way or the other about world building for either of these.
Oh my god, I've got him fine. It's not sweet, but it's an insane.
I think by the barest of margins, I'll give world building to Cardcaptor, because we did get a new Cardcaptor, and we got some lore dump on the religion or the monk group that he's involved with. And it's like so, whatever it is.
The family business.
It's the mob. It's part of the family. You're gonna do your magic.
It was a supernatural reference. It was a supernatural reference.
Regardless.
Killing cards, saving people.
I'm gonna give him a charm
Family
he can't
business.
refuse.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll give it to Cardcaptor.
Yes, I think I'm also giving it to Cardcaptor for the same reason.
I am gonna actually give it to RayEarth. I feel like we've had really nice world building in both shows this week, and I feel like, again, they're really comparable in terms of, like, how much it impacts the overall world. But I will say, like, the gravitas with RayEarth, like, we're not only seeing, like, an entirely new world fleshed out, we're also seeing it dying in real time, while also expanding on how the magic works, which we haven't gotten with Sakura yet. Like, we know there's magic, we now know there's other magic, but we don't know how the magics.
I think I'm with Cozy on this. I think RayEarth, although it's a little more subtle, and we definitely got a little bit more as far as in Sakura, as far as, like, the definite lore elements, I feel like RayEarth's been far more consistent. And, like I said, even with, like, the inner politics of, like, the villain group and everything else like that, and the various things like that, there's a lot they're doing in RayEarth, so I'm gonna give it to RayEarth.
I'm gonna give it to Cardcaptor Sakura, because these are focused on this week, and I feel like they gave us more this week for Cardcaptor Sakura, and I feel like they gave us more of a world building that's tied to the plot. I like the progression of the plot, like with introducing a new Cardcaptor. And that's tied to characters as well. So I just feel like the world building with Cardcaptor Sakura this week just felt more ingrained to me, and like it had some meaning to like what's going to be happening in the future. So I just liked that better.
Very good point.
I'm gonna change my abstain.
You didn't have to.
Oh,
unless it's for
I
RayEarth,
have
in which
to.
case that's gonna be fun.
no. This is interesting. Change it.
So I'm giving it to Cardcaptors
Okay,
because Cozy, you brought up the point with the shadows and you don't have to do a direct capture, and on top of the
Family stuff.
I was like, oh, yeah, they're adding some different card physics and things into this. So yeah.
I might have to change mine too. That's actually a really good point that I forgot about. Yeah, okay. Cardcaptor wins that one pretty handily. All right, moving on into production. Envy, you're leading us off. Who gets your yay for production?
I think for me, it all comes down to which one had the better action scenes. Because at the end of the day, Magic Knight RayEarth is more of an action show than Cardcaptor is. But the Cardcaptor sells its audience on the cards and the magic and all that stuff, so there is action to it. And I think I enjoyed the action more with RayEarth more, so that's why I'm going to give it to. Because both shows are animated well, both shows I've gotten used to their dub cast by now, and both shows have appealing art styles to me, so it all came down to the action for me, and I liked Magic RayEarth's action more, so I'm going to give production to RayEarth.
Can you come back to me?
I am also going to give this to RayEarth. While I do think there's some janky moments, I tried to be really critical of both of the shows this week. And, comparatively, I feel like Sakura had much more of a budget a little bit later on in time where animation was a bit more advanced. And I feel like RayEarth still holds up really well against it for that being the case. They do really good with their action. Again, there's so much comparable between them because it's the same studio, same artist, same music, but the music is good in both. And I will just say right now, I do have the opening for RayEarth stuck in my head. Just that opening guitar riff, specifically.
So again, this is pretty close for me. It is difficult. I think both of them have excellent art styles that are comparable and good in their own ways. I do think each of them edge each other out a little bit in small details. I do think there are a lot more costume changes and a lot of interesting stuff from Cardcaptor. I do think that the better opening and song are in RayEarth. It bounces back and forth just a little bit for me, but I think I'm going to edge it out towards RayEarth on this one. Because, I don't know, I think at the end of it all, there was just a feeling that I just got that I like the look and feel just a little bit more than Cardcaptor. Just that 51% kind of feeling for me.
Yeah, I think there were more flaws in the production in Sakura this week than in RayEarth. I think they both have a great aesthetic, great magical girl clothing and designs and everything, but I'll give the edge to RayEarth for this week.
Oh, I forgot to mention the creature transformation thing. I'll give that the edge for that thing.
For RayEarth, there were pretty much everything was mostly good. There were only a couple little weird facial drawings that kind of threw me off a little bit. For Sakura, most things were fine. There were just the clunkiness in episode 9 because of the rewrite that they did. If it could have been done without the clunkiness, I think it would have kind of maybe helped it a little bit, but I'm going to give it to RayEarth for production.
All right, RayEarth handily takes production, and we move on into final thoughts.
Cece, did you make a decision at all?
I've been convinced for RayEarth, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have mattered, but...
No, but that's okay. Here's what does matter. We're tied. It all comes down to final thoughts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cece, you're leading us off. Who gets your yay at the end of the day?
These are both really good shows, but I think at the end of the day, Sakura is more of a magical girl.
You see, this is the one I was actually struggling with when I was thinking about this. Up until Chibi pointed out what goes on with some not great stuff. But up until this point, I had really liked the messages, the overall tone that was being conveyed through both of these series. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Magic Knight RayEarth because it doesn't have any grooming. Yay!
Yeah, I think you're right. This is a really tough call in a lot of ways. That is an element that has been removed from the version that we're watching. So I'm not going to fully let that entirely sway me for now. I don't know. Great to know, though. So,
I'm sorry, I've ruined everyone's childhood.
It wasn't part of my childhood. You're just ruining my current life.
I mean,
It ruined mine, okay?
It wasn't you who ruined it. It was whoever put it in there.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Overall, for this week, it's tough. I feel like this is a very even split. It was even split upon the categories, and it makes sense why it was, because these are both very solid shows up to this point. I kind of feel like abstaining.
No, don't say that. I'm gonna abstain.
Oh, you're gonna abstain? Well,
Here's
the thing. If it ends up being tied, I'm the one who has to break it because I'm next in the rotation.
Okay, I abstain as well.
Okay, so abstain. It's down to Chibi and Envy to convince me of where to go, unless I don't have to do anything.
I agree with CC that Cardcaptor Sakura is definitely more of what I think of when I think of a magical girl show. But Magic Knight RayEarth is, honestly, for me, it was kind of a surprising pick because I honestly wasn't really feeling Magic Knight RayEarth when we first started watching it, but it has grown on me as we've been watching it throughout the tournament. I am, myself, pretty torn.
If you abstain, I swear to God.
I'm not going to abstain.
Good.
I'm not. I'm going to give it to Magic Knight RayEarth for the fact of the matter is that Sakura is making it very hard for me to, pick one way or the other, whether or not my opinion is, only because of the element from episode 9. And it's just, I don't really feel comfortable making any sort of decision picking that one, so, yeah.
Also, Chibi, I do just want to say, we couldn't tell you liked it. You only went out and bought the manga.
I do, once something grows on me and I get invested, I will go out and buy, the physical material. I like the physical books. That's why I like, reading them. I hate reading, digital copies. I hate it on my phone. Because I can't
physical media.
I hate zooming in on the thingies.
Oh, yeah, they do crop it really awkwardly most of the time.
Yeah, and it sucks.
I will say, though, the digital media where they put continuous scroll on, chef's kiss.
That's nice.
Yeah, true.
So, right now, the vote count is 2 for RayEarth and 1 for Cardcaptor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You gonna make me be a tiebreaker?
Yeah, no, I'm abstaining too because I thought.
What?
Well, here's the thing. I thought this week's Cardcaptor episodes were a little bit better than RayEarth, but I like RayEarth more as a show and as a concept, so that's why I'm abstaining.
Oh no!
I did not see that coming.
Well, it's 2-1, so
Yeah, it all worked
that's
out,
true.
but I did not see a 3-way abstain on this one.
Oh my god!
But you know what? If it was going to come on any week, it kind of feels like this week.
This
So,
was the toughest.
yeah. Thank God there were some people who decided to make decisions.
Yeah.
I feel like we would have had pretty much everyone abstaining if it would not have been for that episode 9 bit.
Sorry.
No, again, not you. Thank you so much for actually bringing it up. But I feel out of everyone here, I feel like you and me, we are the Cardcaptor Sakura fans. We're the ones who grew up watching it. And I feel like we would have had a much harder time making a decision if we did not kind of have that to crumble our childhood right in front of our eyes.
Well, it's just even that, and I'm just I feel really weird not bringing it up just because these are elements that I know, and the thing is while this is probably a core part of my young childhood, I freely acknowledge that there are definitely some things in various works that I read when I was younger that are probably very questionable, so I'm not afraid to, bring them up in a medium like this.
So just a quick question. Would you guys have abstained had you not known that?
Probably.
So it would have just
Me?
come down to CC.
Honestly, yeah, I probably would have abstained only because episode 9 was very clunky, and Magic Knight RayEarth, to be honest, these were not its strongest episodes.
So we would have had
Yes.
5 abstains and then just CC picks. That honestly
Yes.
would have been insane.
Yes, I'm the one that would make a decision.
L. The final thoughts is always where I'm I'm a clamp girly at heart. They're both clamp.
Yeah.
All right.
And they have good messaging. They're just different messaging.
Yep. All right. Well, so Magic Knight RayEarth beats out Cardcaptor Sakura and is our second finalist. So they will go on next week to battle Princess Tutu for the championship.
Woo!
Damn. I didn't.
Wow.
This has been a fascinating tournament.
Yeah, two contenders.
Oh yeah, on a lot of levels.
I have a question, Al. Who did you think was going to make it to the end?
Well, you guys decided that we weren't going to do the pre-made let's guess the brackets in advance, so I don't have anything. Would have.
No, but if you had to have picked, who would you have thought? Not pre-made brackets. Who would you have thought?
Not pre-made, but like if we had done a March Madness kind of thing beforehand.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like you thought Madoka was gonna go further.
Madoka was the highest scored from the entire. Well, granted, it's from Mal, so it's a little But what, generally speaking, I do think for the most part, a lot of the seeds did make sense for where everything went. I probably would have assumed most of the ones in the top 4 would have gone on to maybe be the final 4 or something, had they not had some of them not faced off against each other at some point.
I thought Sailor Moon would make it.
Sailor Moon also was one of those ones where I kind of thought this might have actually gone a little bit further, but it might be an argument for why we're probably going to only do subs next time. Unless we're going to do the bad dub tournament like I mentioned, but...
Also, I mean, Sailor Moon definitely... It needs more than 6 episodes, which is very unfortunate for how it shakes out.
Kind of the nature of the tournament of that. But yeah, I mean, the top 4 seeds were Madoka, Utena, Cardcaptor, and Tutu. I honestly figured...
Wow, so half of them made it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, RayEarth.
Well, 2 of them made it to the final 4.
Yeah.
So, and Tutu's going on to the finals as well. They're going to go off against RayEarth. RayEarth is the 11th seed, so it's not too bad. It's kind of in the middle of the field, which can happen. So that's pretty good. But
I'm very surprised Utena lost.
I think, like you said, they had a
bad
bad showing that week, and Granbelm was on a hot streak that immediately stopped after those episodes.
I was like,
yeah.
I tried to push Utena through, but it failed.
Yeah. Being the 27th seed, though, it got pretty far.
I don't know
the
how
Cinderella
Ray
seed.
made it.
It was the Cinderella seed.
It was the dark horse.
Wow.
It had it had bones. They just
It had
didn't know how
bones.
to.
It just didn't have anything else to go with
I'm a
it.
hater. Listen.
They didn't know how to build the flesh mech around it.
And it beat my favorite one, so I think I have reason to be a hater.
I feel like no matter
That's fair.
what, after this tournament, we're all going to have maybe a couple series that we're going to be able to go back to and be like, hey, let's go watch the rest of these because these were pretty good.
There were some really good
Wedding
ones.
Peach.
We need to do Wedding Peach brunch first.
A Wedding Peach brunch for sure. But, yeah.
So, regardless how it shakes out next week, how are we feeling about the redo of the Magic Knight RayEarth? That should be coming out soonish.
Oh, that's a thing that's going to be
they're
happening?
remaking it.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll be very interested. I'm going to have to watch the rest of the series first, whether it wins or loses. But, I'm also going to be doing the same with Tutu, so...
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, if Tutu wins and there's no ballet in these next little batch of episodes, I am going to riot.
Hey, man, that's usually what happens after a tournament.
Yeah.
No one is happy.
No one's
No.
happy. Either you're not happy and you're rioting, or you're very happy and you're rioting. So someone's got to riot at some point.
No, you will watch me lose my shit in real time.
Well, it's going to be very interesting. Speaking of next week for the finals, we're going to be upping it a little bit. We're going to be going 4 episodes apiece to give us, because that'll bring us out to a full 13 in total for how many we watched, which is about a full core. So we'll hopefully have enough to maybe finish some storylines that are happening in maybe both shows, or maybe complete some arcs. We're definitely not getting to the ends of these shows. Obviously, they go much longer. But I'm going to give them just a little bit of extra thing next week to really push us over the line, see if we can really crown a winner. And we will next week. Cece, how's that scarf going again?
I'm on week 7.
You're on week 7? Damn.
Nice.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
We're moving along.
You're halfway there. Be ready to finish soon. So yeah, by the way, that winner, again, go do the Google form, comment below. Go check out CC's streams as they're doing this. But we're probably going to, after next week, take just a week off. Just because I feel like I'm going to need it after all the editing I've been having to do. And then we're going to come back the week after that and do another episode of something. And we'll also, the winner will find out then, and they'll get that. So, yeah, you got two-ish weeks to finish that. You can do it.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
Yeah.
I always
Oh,
have.
God. I don't remember what it was like to record a normal yay or nay.
Yeah. No, we'll be
Wow.
well, the one coming after this tournament will not be a normal yay or nay, but it'll be something. We'll get back to it.
We'll
at some
get there.
point. All right. So yeah, come back next week.
Oh, I do want to say one more thing real quick.
Sure.
Okay.
So this episode we discovered something unwholesome, to say the least. So if you want something wholesome in your life, while we were talking, we mentioned Clifford the Big Red Dog earlier. I went on YouTube, and apparently there's a full official channel where you could watch every episode of the original show plus Clifford's Puppy Days, the prequel. If you want some wholesome, go right ahead and watch that.
Link in the description below.
While you're watching it, just think about the fact that Clifford is now dead.
No.
I'm gonna
I
cut,
said wholesome,
I'm
damn
gonna
it.
make it unwholesome.
I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna cut
Suffer
that from the edit.
with us.
I'm gonna cut that from the edit.
I'll comment it.
All right.
You can't stop me, Al.
All right. Hey, everybody. Finals next week.
Yes.
Princess Tutu versus Magic Knight RayEarth. Be there or be square, or watch it later. I don't give a shit. See ya.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!